Hello 50. This is a big honor for me. There have probably already been 100,000 people who have said something similar, but I feel that for me as a rap journalist, this is something important, and maybe this is a way to start a conversation. Get Rich or Die Tryin came out in 2003. I was a really kid at the time. I didn't know English, and your track In the Club was the first rap track ever that I heard in my life, except that I really didn't know the lyrics. I didn't know English, so I didn't know what's about it. But I fell in love with rap, and until now, I've been exploring rap all the time. I work as a rap journalist and so on. So you are responsible for it, we can say. And that's what my question is a bit about with this long introduction. 20 years ago, you released a legendary album. Now in front of you, there is a world tour, the final lap, related to that city. You play in Poland too, in Łódź, in 29th October. You have already raised some generation on your music. Do you feel any kind of responsibility for them, for your lyrics? Do you watch your listeners change and grow up during your concerts, for example?
Yeah, I think my core audience is grown now.
Yeah, it is.
And I try to stay with them because they made me a success, right? And this is where my interest in film and television comes from.
Yeah.
Because now they do things different. Like when you get older, you, let's say, look, through success, they have a wine cellar. So they're having a drink that they would have in a nightclub in the privacies of their home instead of like being out partying all the time, because they got kids now that are 20 years old.
Yeah, sure.
You were their baby.
Yeah, I was a baby. I was like 5 or 6 years old. So yeah, the CD you released 20 years ago is such a huge hit that it can still be heard everywhere today. There are no tracks out there that someone in the world doesn't know. So does the moment when you release an album that is so successful have any effect on how you start looking at your own work? For example, you could, start thinking that you are some kind of superhuman. What helped you to make such good stuff, especially now, 20 years later, when you tour with all this experience?
You know what happens? Because I had good examples around me. Like at my highest moment, I had artists around me that were bigger. I had Eminem, I had Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? The Marshall Mathers LP sold 23 million copies at that point. It sold more now, but at that point, it sold 23 million copies. And I was at like 13 at that point. And, you know, and I had Dr. Dre there that had been making hits since I can remember. So it was a room for my head to be too big. You know, it was more like, let me get it all the way right now. Like that, like I looked at that first record, like, it was a good introduction. It was a great start. Like the record had big hit records on it. It just worked. And I had the right ears around me at the same time. Like M had to hear it and be impressed for me to keep it. I had to like the record. You know what I'm saying? So it was a collective. It's not just 50 Cent. Of course, like certain things that we had arguments about, like the 21 Questions. Dre didn't really, he was like, you don't really need this record. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but I wanna do it. And he's like, all right. Because he's like, this is like NWA, it's just one person. So you don't have to reach for audience to appreciate you. You let the audience come to you. You could be the feature on that kind of track when someone wants something different, to balance out creatively that's there. And I could have waited until the right record came through for me to feature on, but I thought I could make it street or more hood. You can have more a harder artist sing a melody than at the time than who I had. I had Nate Dogg on it. Like it was from the Dog Pound, Death Row, that energy. It gave me a little bit of West Coast, a drop of West Coast on the album. You know what I mean? And I wanted that to be there. So it worked out. Like it worked out from there. And then to me, the Massacre, like people forget that the next album sold 10 million records. Like and so 1.140, 1,400,000 copies in 4 days. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, that one was explosive to me. Like, it's ill because when I start doing a set list and I look at the music, I get confused at points what I should perform and what I shouldn't perform. And because everyone's filming, everybody got the camera and shit like that out. So with the phone,
Mm-hmm.
This tour, I'm gonna keep the set moving.
Mm-hmm. Sure, but I have to ask this. Your tour is called the Final Lap. Is it really a final lap? What is meant to be this final lap?
It's the last time you'll see me do a tour this big.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got it's almost over 90 days for this actual tour, and I have so much going on in film and television and the other parts of my business that I won't be able to commit to going this long. Like this tour is really going to bleed into the middle of next year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but you tour all over the world. You are a rapper, a producer. You have some big businesses like Sorry Spirits. How do you combine all this? And on top of that, you have time for all these activities. Does your 24 hours have like 48 hours?
You know, it's crazy, but you know, like ahead of time, like look, I had a movie coming out, right? The Expendables. Mm-hmm. But I already did the performance. It's finally coming out like on top of everything that's going on. So it'll seem like, what is this guy doing? He doesn't sleep because I'm talking to you about the tour. Then the movie press will come out, and then the new television show will come on, and you go, what? Like, and it'd be like, I worked on it, but those things were months and months behind. And now they're coming out on top of each other. So it feels crazy at points. It feels like I got a lot going on. And it's because I love what I'm doing. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it now. If you're saying, look, when the last time you seen Eminem on tour?
Yeah, okay. So do you plan to add anything else to your busy schedule? I've heard plans about the 8 Mile series. Can you reveal something about this?
The 8 Mile series, things are moving a little bit slower than usual as far as me in film production because of the writer's strike in the US, but which will loan and make people look at the idea of using writers from the UK in different areas that is extremely talented writers out there that are not within those restraints. So we'll look at them, and like when I was just in London for a little while, I was meeting with some people, was talking about different things. And it's just about finding the right synergy, the right energy to get the right people involved in the project. Because I wouldn't even care if I wasn't getting paid for that. That's important. That's one of the most important projects for me, for people to understand MCs Legacy the right way. Because the guy is like one of the best friends, like the best people I have in my life, period. So it's really important that it's done right. And there's you know, like it's funny because I can get him to do things. People can't get him to come out. I got him to play White Boy Rick for me, and when I was directing BMF. Mm-hmm. You know, he'll come outside because I'll be like, yo, you won't come out. You don't never want to come out.
Yeah, okay.
And he'll come out because I'm saying something to him. But other than that, he don't really have the same interest there. But the touring, he would say to me, he didn't want to go on tour and come back and Haley be grown up. Haley grown up now. So we may go on tour. Like that'll be something that would possibly bring me out if following this Final Lap tour is possibly the ability of if me and Andre decide to go on a run or to do something, then that would probably be a big enough event for me to stop doing what I'm doing to go.
Yeah, okay, 51 last question from me. In October, we see you in Poland. Together with you, Busta Rhymes will appear on stage. What can we expect from this concert? Do you plan something like big?
Yeah. I gotta, because I had to, you know, my impression, like Busta's gonna do, you know, what he does. He put on a great show, man. He's a real entertainer. And then Jeremiah probably is one of the most underrated in that section. When you see him performance-wise, you'll understand why he's on this tour, because it's the right synergy, the right energy to bring out on the road. And then my show, I'm just gonna make sure that I have hit after hit after hit. Like my catalog, I really don't have to have to balance it out so I'm not going into overdrive with it. Like just look, some songs I was keeping them short, so short that I wasn't performing the entire song and people was looking around like, why did he turn it off? Like, but I had so many records I was trying to get to, and I was still not finishing my full catalog at that point. I would have to swap and change songs to do different things. And then now it's like balance it out, put together a real show and bring something like, this is the way I would like people to remember my me as a performing, like touring as a touring artist.
50, as the time is coming up, thank you, 50. It was a great honor for me. Thank you for this conversation.
All right. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Radio ESKA.